over 30% of inhabitants who live in arid and semi-arid lands in the Horn of Africa are pastoralists who rely exclusively on the land and livestock for their daily livelihoods.
FAO PP Partnership Program is a cross-border initiative funded by the SDC. It had three broad areas of intervention. The first was community prioritized investment areas. The second was domestication of policies that are pertinent to that area. And thirdly, the enhancement of the capacity of IGAD specialized institutions. One of the basic challenge is the fact that we are talking about the same community but in three different countries. So we have a natural barrier that has been created that splits the community that is essentially one.
حالدنا أنتم مشروع عن إيمانين أفر قضب أي أنو تاجني كنا هذا وين اللي بيشري بيرهنا عقفنا وما هي سنين وحصو صارنا ملاحين الشدال كلوكتنا ذا كدونا نشرني كنا الله وحاجر مركب بي بحدا أي شرط مركا قضبة وين اللي بهين هذا مشروع أنو يمد كنا هذا فيس كهرة حان هلني تبوي تغير بدنا كهلني عقف واهلني لبدا استور وانولا ديسي كنال وانولا ديسي تبوين بيو لو كيناي waa ka helnay tababaro waa noola furay oo qaybta beeraha marka waxyaalo badan aan ka helnay FAO iyo IGAD
waxay faa'iidaan mashruucan kala kulnay mashruucan kale laba wajiga hadda wajigan oo socdaa wajiga hore waxaan kala kulnay in dadka meelo badan oo dhibaysa horta fatahaad inta badan dhulka dhibayso kanala marka la soo burburayay in laga faa'iideysanayo tubooyin loo helay kanaal dhagax loo helay waxyaalo badan oo laga faa'iideysta jir shidaalkii qof shidaalka gadan waayo beertiisa iska taalo shidaalka markuu helo beertii wuxuu shidaal ku geey lahaa dhulka ku jibsaday waxyaalo badan laga faa'iiday waxa iska bedelay dadka waaga hore wuxuu ahaa beeraha dhulka inkastoo dhulka qaar uu dadka lahaa waxaa jiri jirtay qof jugaasi loo galay wax noocan ah jiri jiray hadda waxaa jirta dadkii 20 isku xiran yihiin beeri ka faa'iideysan walba ay maaragtay oo faa'iido gaartay.
The IGAD-FAO Partnership Program is a program that is geared to build the resilience of communities in the IGAD Cluster 3. It was jointly implemented by IGAD and FAO and funded by the Swiss Development Corporation and had a budget of $10 million for the three countries, funded over a period of 5 years. The project was looking at 5 communities in each of the countries. That is 5 communities in Kenya, 5 communities in Ethiopia, and 5 communities in Somalia. Through the proposals that the communities gave us, we evaluated them for sustainability, for impact, and we were able to build more capacities for these communities. Tangible capacities such as providing them with the infrastructure for them to be able to produce more feed and food for themselves. This has included construction of canals, provision of water pumps, provision of farm inputs, and then the intangible capacities that we have built within these communities also include training them in the various skills that they need. For example, good agronomic practices, livestock disease identification.
The IGAD-FAO Partnership Program, the cross-border program between Kenya, Somalia and Ethiopia, basically was aiming at building resilience in the ASAL regions of the dryland communities and the pastoral communities. So in Somali area, we were looking at the opportunities and the resources available for the community members and how they can build on them into building resilience and building their own capacity at the community level. So we were looking at the aspect of training farmers, those ones close to the river, and also giving information and more trainings on the pastoralists so that they can see how to improve their main source of livelihood, which is pastoralists, that is animals, and then also the rivering farmers who also produce food for themselves. So the training aspect was to see how to give them more information, to empower them more on the technologies and the information that they are lacking, that we felt they need to have them in a way of sustaining their ready resources at their hands.
I have been trained to agropastoral field school master trainer. I have achieved to train agropastoral field school facilitators and established 10 groups of agropastoral field schools. After establishment of ABFS groups, the communities have been able to solve the problems, including livestock disease, crop disease, water management system, and conflict resolution.
tababarkii la siiyey qaabkii maareyntii macnaha mashruuca hadda socda jihadeed u socda baa naloo siiyey sidaan macnaha lacagihii la soo bixiyay aan bulshada wax ugu qaban lahayn ayay ahayd qaabkii naloo siina waan ugu faa'iidnay oo ilaa al'aana mashruuca ku hogaamin haynaba
faqri waxa kamid ah iskaashataan waa iskaashato la maalgeli oo hormartay oo hadda lacagaheeda dhulka ay yaalaan wax qabad bas in loo sii xoojiyo rabta bulshadan kale waxba ma haysata iskaashatooyin nala meesa ayaa jira waxba hel marka faqriga noo dhaxay waxa waaye meel abriyo meel ay wax yaalaan aan u kalnaanay markii saas loo eego marka saas ay noqon kartaa ilaa
Dolo Ado and the Somali region of southeastern Ethiopia are indicative of cross-border communities across the region, with many of the potential advantages but also challenges that are now associated with these unique but often fragile social societies and communities.
Even when talking about the challenges, the communities were able to actually deliver on the investments that they wanted us to support them to undertake. Some of these investments were rehabilitation of the irrigation canals. These canals had been established through support from other partners, but over the years they have fallen into disuse and they were not functional, and we rehabilitated them. We also opened up new grounds for growing either fruits, vegetables, or fodder, whatever the communities really wanted to invest in. We also had communities that were investing in honey production. We had communities that had opted to increase their sizes or the sizes of their herds, and those that wanted to be supported to replenish their herds because of decimation from the last drought. And all those communities were able to deliver on these investments.
The IGAD-FAO Partnership Program is supporting vulnerable pastoralist communities in the Dolo Ado region by building resilience and capacity measures, addressing specific challenges in marketing and trade initiatives, by tackling an eradication of transboundary animal diseases, and by implementing natural resources conservation and management across the region. Bringing communities in the region together on the issues of cross-border policies encompassing increased access to natural resources and increasing productive capacity has enabled the IGAD-FAO Partnership Program to play a pivotal role in promoting communities as key stakeholders in managing their own future.
salaan kadib waxaan ka faa'iidnay annaga haddaanay haweenka dhanka iskaashatada wax badan waa alxamdulilaahi rabbil caalamiin dhanka beerashada xoolo dhaqatada beeraleyda abaarta ay socoto ay taal xoolahaas ay nool naaxin lahaa faa'iido badan aan ka helnay waxbarashada oo markii tababaraha awal aan haysanin faa'iido weyn aan ka helnay qiimo gelin ma lahayn awal hore haweenka waa la yasi jiray laakiin hadda iskaashata beeraleyaan nahay hadda.
This phase of the project we have built the productive capacity of these communities. The communities have been provided with the tools and equipment to enable them cultivate more land. We have also given them skills in terms of good agronomical practices, including pest and disease control in their fields. So we envisage that the communities will be producing more in the next few years, few months.
kahor waxaan soo saari jiray 500 waxaan soo saari jiray macnaha laftaydan iska hadlay waxaan soo saari jiray 500 kiilo oo digir iyo galey ah hadda mashruucan markuu bilowday kadib waxaan soo saaraa 1,000 kilogram oo galley iyo digir ah waxaan boqolkiiba mashruucan waxaan ka faa'iiday boqolkiiba 50 baan ka faa'iiday
waxaa weeye ninkii hektar tabcanay markiis garab qabad helay 2 hektaraas tabcaday hektarkii meeshii 20 kintaal laga heli jiray 40 kintaal laga helay 40 kintaal.
The IGAD-FAO project is now a critical enabler for communities empowering themselves in the face of existential threats to their livelihoods, such as water shortages and droughts, clan conflicts, and even overgrazing from cattle and livestock.
One of the real causes of conflict is grazing and water. And this area is not really an exception. This happens all over in the arid and semi-arid areas, whether you're talking about Karamoja, whether you're talking about southern nations in Ethiopia, whether you're talking about Dikil in Djibouti, it happens. However, it need not happen. We need to enhance our water harvesting. The other conflict, of course, is on grazing, because there is not enough grazing. But we have technologies, we have the capacity now to produce adequate fodder in these areas. All I'm saying is communities need to be empowered. They don't need to be left to their own devices, where the only thing they can resort to is violence when we are talking about water, when we're talking about grazing. It's not necessary. It's really not necessary.
faa'iidooyinka aan ka helay waxaa ka mid ah taan hadda ka hadlayna cagaftaba faa'iidooyinka aan ka helay bay ka mid tahay labo in aan kaydsano calafkii xoolaha goobtii aan ku kaydsan lahayn waa naloo sameeyey waxyaalaha aan ka faa'iidnay ka mid tahay laba waxaasoo dhan waxaa ka muhiimsan inaan wax baranno oon cashir baranno dadkan dhammaan hadda beeralayda ah waa dad guruubyo iskugu xidhan oo iskaashatooyin awal ma jirin faa'iidooyinkay ka mid maxaa yeelay iskaashatadii waxay soo saarto kayd awal ma jirin hadda kayd baa jira iskaashatada inay wax kaydsato waan ka faa'iidnay waxna ay isticmaasho waxna ay kaydsato hamigii wuu isbedelay dadkii inay wax soo saaraan oo ay horay u tillaabsadaan arrimo fara badan oo noo soo kordhay weeye soo saariye fara badan dalagyaha kala duwan ee khayraadka kala duwan in la soo saaro galeydii la soo saaro qudaartii noocyadeeda la soo saaro dhulka caligaroobka laga jaro dhul beereed loo bedelo waxyaalo fara badan oo faa'iido ah waa laga helay muhiimadda ugu weyn waxa weeye waan tababaranay inaan wax kaydsanno inaan wax soo saarno inaan waxna isticmaalno waxna kaydsanno yaa ka mid ah faa'iidooyinka aan ka helay.
Advocating for people-centered development in the region remains a crucible of the IGAD-FAO partnership program. Coupled with strategic roadmaps to end drought emergencies, these are all supported by IGAD's specialist agencies in climate prediction, conflict early warning systems, and livestock development, all with the goal of building and strengthening community resilience.
Now, the other issue was then ensuring that ICPAC, C1 and ICPALD are able to deliver on their mandate. And we did this by ensuring that C1 was involved from the development of the product and the rolling out of the actions, so that the actions we were undertaking, the investments we were undertaking, did not exacerbate or initiate a conflict.
The partnership program interventions in Ethiopia and across the region that are led by IGAD now represent a holistic approach to combating environmental degradation, food insecurity, and ultimately reducing the devastating effects of economic and environmental shocks. By building capacity and resilience in vulnerable communities, IGAD's FAO partnership project in Ethiopia is providing a framework of sustainable development for cross-border pastoralists and promoting enhanced livelihood opportunities.
One of the things that you want to do for a community or with a community is to enable them to think about themselves. Apart from putting in the infrastructure development, is to make the community realize that they have a power to change and to transform their well-being, transforming them from a people that didn't know they had the power within themselves to a people that now can say, yes, if we have the determination and with a little help and funding, we are able to do X, Y, Z. I think for me that is really a big achievement besides what we have put in physically in the communities.